Call to order. Do we have any public comment?
So I had, is that for us?
Yes. You're the public.
Just some questions regarding the new policy with tot lot. Obviously, you know, we've had it good for 30 plus years, because I think my husband was in the tot lot program when he was a kid. But the changes, especially, because I had a daughter who qualified last year, but isn't gonna qualify this year per the new requirements. I mean, she's devastated, but I know that fortunately I don't have to worry about childcare like some people, but is there, we were kind of discussing, what is the possibility, what are potential opportunities for, is there gonna be any other program available, or if not, to be able to still have access to the playground, because, I mean, it's the summertime, kids wanna be at the park, so where we're supervising, or if we have a babysitter supervising or something along those lines, we wanna make sure that,
So, I'm Michelle Bear, I'm the Borough Manager.
okay.
To clarify, public comment is not a question and answer period, it is
Okay.
strictly for the public to give comment. What I would suggest is Randy, our rec director, we can give you our contact information and follow up with you tomorrow
Sure.
as to your specific questions.
Okay, yeah, because that's, I think that's our main concern, is can we still have use of the facilities, since we're not gonna be able to have, participate with the younger kids, obviously the older kids are still okay, but,
I feel like we understand that it's out of the hands that are in this room, but we also wanna look for solutions, because when problems arise, you look for solutions to them. Instead of just tossing your hands up and saying, oops, can't work, I don't, we can find something that could work if we all, so that's kind of more of what we are looking, I don't know any of the information, I don't know, I just got the information as to what all the walls are and stuff like that, so I feel like I need more information to be able to better understand everything that's going on and everything that has changed and why it's changed and how we can address the changes and the solutions towards it.
When we get to that item on the agenda, both Randy and I have some additional information we can share.
That's why we're here.
Okay, any other comment? Okay, let's move on to approval of the April meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the April meeting minutes.
Second,
Aye.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Financial report? Anything we need to point out, or?
Nothing really was out of the normal. As with every month, we pay bills when they come in, not necessarily when they were incurred, and everything is still in line, so.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the financial report?
So moved.
Right, second? And all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, committee reports. Birthday.
Okay, so overall, I thought the Earthy event went really well this year, so there's a couple things we wanted to highlight. First of all, I felt like Happy Hollow, the park and playground, was in impeccable condition, so I think that Greg and his team did a really good job of preparing it. I felt like it was it was just, you could tell like they spent time getting it ready for us to show up on the day of the event. Also, thank you to my fellow rec board members for helping on the day of the event. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun, and I felt really supported. So, like, it was a good day. A couple things we added this year that I was really excited about, and I'm looking forward to them growing next year. The tree scavenger hunt. So, for those of you who maybe didn't see this, it was advertised through Facebook, but the tree scavenger hunt basically in the parkland. I set up like a route through the parkland, like a walking route. And along the route, like Randy made this map right on PowerPoint of the route, and as you walked, you saw trees that were numbered. There were 12 trees numbered. They were all different types of trees, common trees in Pennsylvania, and at each tree there was something for you to do. So you had a handout that went along with it. You had a handout, you brought a clipboard, you brought a crayon, and some families participated in that. We really don't know how many participated in that, but some of them handed in their forms at the Happy Hollow event. And then they were entered for a chance to win a prize. So one kid won 2 passes to Hawk Mountain, and another kid won a reusable straw that was donated through Brooks Nature. So that was a real positive. The macroinvertebrate inventory also was something that took place off-site. It wasn't at Happy Hollows. That was in the afternoon, and the target audience for that was like the teenagers, 12 to 16. Next year, I would look to just say 12 and up, because if you're 45 years old and want to get in the creek and catch some larvae, like I'm not gonna eat it. Like there was no point in putting an upper age limit on it, I felt. So if you say 12 and up, we partnered with Penn State Master Watershed Stewards for that, and they came, they ran the event. There were 3 of them. The word didn't get out there very well, but we all felt like it was a successful first go at it. So they expressed like they were happy with how the event went, and that they would look to do that again with us next year.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Did they stipulate the lower age cutoff, or did we specify that?
I asked them what are you comfortable with, and they said, I think initially we had it 10, and they said like the one woman is coming from a background in education, and she said that at like Noli and stuff it's always like 11 or 12, like they feel comfortable with that junior high and up age range.
Yeah, just curious, because my 11-year-old was keen to go, and I was like,
Well, next year it'll be happening.
Sorry,
Like,
man.
Don't worry, it'll happen next year. But like the point was like we had one random adult show up, and I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, why didn't I think to like if I was in it, like I would have signed up for this. Like, why didn't I think to open it to 12 and up? So next year we'll just make it 12 and up, so that if you want to come with your kid, you can. If you just want to come as whatever age you are, and like just come and get in the creek. But it was a lot of fun. And then you get the stuff out of the creek, you identify it, you sort it, and then you put it back in the creek, and you like it tells you like how healthy the creek is. It gives you an indication of that. Another big positive was the farmers market. That was Randy's idea. I really liked that. How we had a farmers market as part of Earth Day. We'd be looking to expand that next year and get some more vendors to participate. And then we had Gaga and field games and tree climbing, and there was just a lot of stuff going on. So overall, a really successful event. A couple small changes that we talked about making for next year is expanding it a little bit. We always we plan all this stuff and then you don't have enough time to do it all, right? So we had a 10 to 12 event. We said maybe expand it to 10 to 1, give people more time to purchase food for lunch and things like that, and just more time to get through the offerings that we were providing. More signs, we need more signs. I feel like yard signs at the different tables to show what they are. I think Spooky Hollow did that. Did you guys have yard signs? At the different, and that was really helpful because you could see across the field that's what's going on over there. So I think that would be really helpful for Earth Day. But just those are a couple of the main things. Yeah, expanding the macroinvertebrate inventory, better signage, and a little bit longer event.
Yeah, I think I might have a solution to when we are at different events and we cannot wear an outfit that says rec board. Because I was the strange lady at the Gaga pit trying to make conversation with people's children and get them to play, but I was also the strange lady talking to their children at the Gaga pit. So I had nothing identifying me. So if we got just recreation board, we don't have to have our names on it. It doesn't need to spend the money. We just hand it in when we're done. And it says recreation with a magnet or a pin, and we make them and type them, anything that says, I'm okay. And I'm safe to talk to your child. And then the egg hunt, if we have jackets on, you can still be identified.
Yeah, that's a good call.
In
A
4th
pin.
of July, when we're
That's
sweating,
safe.
we'll still be identified.
I think a pin.
So
Oh.
you can come to us for questions or help or not.
Do you guys still have the t-shirts that were made 2-3
I
years
do.
ago?
I do.
Because I inventoried everything and they're super small sizes and
Yeah.
very mixed quantities and all kinds of stuff.
And then we also had ones that were like a wicking material way back when. I had one of those too. That was nice, but it was just different. But it's also not weather permitting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's
that's
only
the
one
problem.
time I can wear that shirt,
Yeah.
and it's 4th of July, and it's polyester, and it's horrible, So, I think a tag or something.
Yeah, a pin. I think you're right, Kate.
Well, that topic came up at the fishing rodeo too.
Yeah.
Of how to identify either volunteers or
I
board
stood there,
members.
and
Yes.
it was like, I'm okay, I'm not, all my clearances,
Okay.
just an idea.
Speaking of fishing rodeo,
Oh, well, ma'am.
Your name is on there.
Yeah, well,
It's not saying me.
but I saw you walk in the door, so, we were both attending the fishing rodeo and did handled the event very well.
It was great.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
What I really liked, and we don't know what happened in between the registration, the pre-registration and the event, but we put all of the name tags, the tags that had people's names on them, out for people to come and find, which was really cool, because it made you feel special. When you walk up and your name is on this tag with a fish on it, and however, some of them didn't some of them, either maybe the registration date, so we talked about helping you put names on tags. We really like that idea, and when you walk up and find it, so if you need help with that next year, we would be glad to name tags with you, because it
So
seemed
there
like
were
a big
people
job.
who pre-registered that their tags weren't there.
Yeah,
Right, and it was a
I
mixture
found
of, situations. It's like,
Yeah.
I registered, no tag, I registered this morning, okay, no tag, right. And then we made one for you, of course, but we didn't put their names on there, we just gave it to them. But it was really neat to see them come up and find their name, they were filled with joy.
And there was, I mean, we had over, I think, 100 people walk up, plus the 80 some that were registered. Now, not all, a lot of the pre-registered people that were printed, they did not show up, which was interesting.
We kept those for you, so you could see kind of like who didn't, you know what I mean, so you could kind of, did you find them?
Well,
with
there
their
were
names?
119 pre-registrations.
Right, but we kept the tags that no one picked up, so you could kind of see who
Okay.
did not show up or who did not, you know.
Yeah.
We don't know, in case you wanna have that data.
But it was a great event. I mean, that was by far the most people I can
Oh,
remember
yeah.
being at a fishing rodeo in a good long time. People were pulling fish out. I mean, the fish were biting. Like some years it's a little rough, but this year was really good.
The Borough crew was especially, we
Yep,
had very,
yes.
very lucky that one of the Borough crew members could skin fish, or whatever
Yeah,
you
he
do
was
with it.
cleaning up fish. That was really
Clean
nice.
fish. Someone tried to give him money and we explained that he cannot take that money on the job, but, they said, well, this is a service you're providing, I have to go to some place and have this done, and so I said, well, I appreciate that, and I think we gave it to Peter to donate for next year. You know what I mean, just to put into the general.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the thing with fishing rodeo that sort of always ends on a low note because people don't stay till the end. So we had over 100 people at the event, and then at the end when we got to the prizes and awards, there's like 10 people standing there. So then you get the like, and the person nobody was there to win the raffles.
We were still fishing.
So
Right.
okay, there you go. So
You're ready to go home, you're still fishing.
and we have prizes this year, and I know we've done it the same way for a long time, but maybe we want to talk about like if some of those raffles could go, throughout the event to kind of keep it moving, or I don't know. That was the only part that, and every year it's kind of like wah wah. The food truck was great. That was really, really nice. Except I think Gourmand is not the food truck for that event. Because they just didn't, I don't know who else was there, but they didn't have good, they had like regular brewed, like okay coffee, and then they only had one type of breakfast sandwich. So I think maybe next year, the food truck was great idea, but like the perk up truck or something like that. Like a coffee and more of a breakfast truck. Because then they also peeled out like right at 11. I think.
Well, they went over to West Reading.
Oh.
Because I was like, oh, West Reading had on the same day, they had their fishing rodeo as well, so they were over.
Yeah,
at West Reading.
yeah. Because usually Gourmand is great, but I think that that wasn't their strength.
Okay.
I don't know, some of those prizes though are contingent on at the end of the whole
right,
length of
exactly.
fish,
So
and
that's-
it's age groups and
right.
it's,
Next year we need to be real clear on getting people's information for who won the prizes, because people got on the board, but then we didn't have all of their information. So
right.
we need a little like clarity on the record keeping, because I feel like, as I recall 2 years ago, that was also a little foggy.
Yeah. It was great.
Yeah, everybody had fun.
Great time.
We didn't get any complaints.
The
It
fishing
didn't
rodeo is the
rain, the
best
sun
event
came
ever.
out for
For sure.
once.
It's my favorite event.
Yeah, it was good.
Great, thank you.
You guys
All right,
miss out.
Memorial Day parade?
Right, parade, we're in pretty good shape. We have a lot more participants confirmed than in past years, so it should be a pretty decently running parade than in former years. The Hills Committee is sponsoring bike decorating the morning of in the pavilion, so you can decorate your bike, and then they'll escort all the kids down to line up in the staging area so that they can be in the parade. So I think in past years there's been some confusion as to where to line up, so we haven't had a lot of kids. So we're hoping that's gonna get a lot of kids involved as well, and therefore a lot of parents watching along the side. We're gonna have a perk-up truck there at staging in the beginning, and then they're gonna move over to the Remembrance ceremony location once staging is over. And then the social committee is sponsoring the Remembrance ceremony, which should run pretty similarly to past years. We do have everything confirmed. I'm not sure, Randy, if you wanna add anything to the Remembrance ceremony. We're adding a poem this year, so one of the high school students from,
Wyomissing.
from Wyomissing, she's gonna read the poem. And we have all of the veterans will be, they're gonna be in the parade, and then they'll come, we have a special area for them to sit in, so they'll be watching the ceremony, and then, one of them will be laying one of the wreaths,
We were
correct?
Marshall.
Yes, so the ceremony should go smoothly. I think Jerry Gajewski is gonna be the MC, and he's done that forever and ever, so I think that should run pretty smoothly. New this year, we're going to try to implement like a little social gathering afterwards. So, the Boy Scouts are gonna have the food like they always do, but we're gonna have the ARL set up a little adoption pet event, because they're gonna be in the parade, so then they're gonna hang around with the pets, so people can meet the animals. The pickup truck is gonna be there. We're gonna put the yard games out. We're gonna move the speakers over and have some music going. Hopefully, if anyone has a lead on like an ice cream truck, I haven't been able to find anyone who wants to come scoop some ice cream on Memorial Day Saturday.
Did you show Lucine?
Hmm?
Shionlik? She did it last year from Great American Dream.
Great American
Great
Creamery?
American, yeah.
Oh, no, I didn't, okay.
It was her husband and her son, they just have
They
like,
just came, okay.
they had like the cooler set up that you could either buy the individual servings or
Okay.
I wanna say like by the pint.
I didn't try them, I will try them.
I can give you her number.
Ooh, that would be great. What else?
Can I just ask a very, very quick question? For the Boy Scouts hot dog sale, will there be trash cans there?
Yes.
Okay, we should bring our own trash bags?
No, I'll have liners.
Okay, we have a couple that we can have designated nearby. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. So, we kind of want, when we wrap up the ceremony, we are gonna have Jerry sort of say something along the lines of, you know, it's a day to remember and honor the veterans, but also they would want everyone to, you know, be together and enjoy one another and, you know, enjoy the day. And so we want the event to be something that can kind of run self-sufficiently, but also bring everyone together so everyone can kind of come as they like and the games will run themselves. So hopefully some people will stay, and it'll be a little bit more incentive to come to the ceremony because there will be things to do afterwards, so it kind of adds on. And then we have heard from the synagogue because they have services at 9:30 every Saturday, and I guess that's been a little bit of an issue, but I did talk to them. The main issue is just access to the parking lot, so I'm gonna just talk to the officer, the barrier's right outside of my house, so I'm just gonna ask him to stay there. Sometimes he wanders, so if he can just stay there until 9:30 to let people through. Most of them park at the church across the street, but those with mobility issues, like some of them just need to have access to the synagogue lot.
What street are you on? Cause I'll say something to the chief or lieutenant.
Warwick, so the corner of Warwick and Tewksbury. So it's just that barrier right at the stop sign, if you can just make sure that people can get through. And then they asked if we can ask the bands just not to play just on that stretch from Vista to Tewksbury, just that little bit there. Which it's just the synagogue and the church on that street, so it's not houses, so I don't think there's typically many people that watch there anyway. And then the Gajewskis are right around the corner on Tewksbury, which is where they tend to pick up moms and things anyway. So I don't think it should be an inconvenience, and I think it will go a long way with them.
I don't know if you would notice that last year we had some issue with like the invocation and we ended up with a private sponsor that was.
That's the
Same.
Same situation.
Yes, yep, so we, the social committee is gonna sponsor that, so that's in the, program, and we've arranged that with the social committee too, so that should be set like last year. And then as far as needs, we could use some more volunteers for staging if possible. We talked to, Randy spoke with the woman who does the armed services parade, and she usually has people to do for staging, and I think right now we have 6? 2?
2.
Oh, well, I'll be there. And Jen Reimer will be there.
But I talked to
4.
I talked to Dave Siscon today, he was
Okay.
their head stager, and he goes, Randy, we had 12 people, but they don't stay and do anything, we
Okay.
end up with 3 or 4 people that do it all.
Okay, alright, so
I've
we'll do-
staged year after year after year, except when I was pool manager.
Okay.
Am I on that list? I was there, I offered to stage, was I on your list?
I thought you said you were gonna hand out buttons.
That's what we did, we hand out buttons as we stay as they come and stage them, we tell them where to
Okay,
go, we
yeah,
give a button.
absolutely.
Oh, okay,
But I
yeah.
think we're meeting a different place, do you want me at the park or do you want me at the school?
The elementary
School parking
school,
lot.
right?
School
Yeah.
parking lot, so that we used to stage right there at the pavilion. That's where we started the staging, so I'll be at the school parking lot then.
Yeah.
Most people are gonna come there, I think.
Oh, you wait,
No.
you're staging in a different place this year?
We're staging in the elementary school parking lot.
Ooh.
That's
Is
a
that
lot
not-
bigger, and that'll be a lot easier.
Is that
Yeah.
not where it usually is?
That's right.
No,
Is that,
usually-
did you
You
get?
might need a rec board member to be at the at the pavilion telling people
Well,
that it's
tomorrow
different.
the instructions go out to, there's 52 participants in the group.
Wow.
Right, but
um,
it's still gonna happen, because you got random people with cars, and they like to bring their cars up, and they like to park there, and then they like to back out, and they like to leave, it's just a little hectic.
Mhm.
So I think someone will have to be there, I think people will come,
Okay.
you know, just.
Well, I can let the women from the social committee know,
Oh, yeah.
because they'll be there.
Well, and I'm checking my email from Scouts. The location is the park where we got sent to meet, and that we've always lined up on that road in between. So if you're moving the staging
Jim
location,
didn't get anything from me that said
Well,
that,
that's-
unless he
it's-
just took it for granted.
Yeah,
yes,
just
probably
assuming
no.
it's the
So
same.
you're gonna have to put that in like gigantic letters, because good old when
All the
we
staging-
handle change well.
All the staging directions, the map, everything gets sent out tomorrow.
I was assuming they're
So.
gonna be
Yeah, that's fine. We can station someone up there too, and we'll tell the people under the pavilion to redirect if
And so
people pop
and is
up.
parking gonna be closed off in the school?
Yes.
School parking lot.
Yep.
They usually park.
Yeah, so that is not on my list, but I was gonna talk to you. I'm gonna write something up. I'm an anxious parker, so I like to know where to park. So I'm gonna take your parade route picture, and I'm gonna highlight where you can park, and then where you can walk, and where you can sit.
Okay.
So that people know,
That's
because
very
the
nice.
roads
Kristen
are
was
so
adamant,
weird.
very
because that's her
Yeah.
neighborhood, and she said that parking is
It's-
always a nightmare
It's
for this parade.
terrible, yeah,
Yes.
people get very confused, and then I think they just leave, because
We
it's
used
too
to just park at the
confusing.
Berkshire Mall and walk, when the kids were little.
Yeah, really?
Mm-hmm. It's just so much easier to stay out of the hills.
Right, right. And then we were also hoping to get some volunteers to just kind of sporadically stand along the route, but maybe if people are watching as well, they can just kind of help to just kind of keep it moving. I don't remember who it was that said that often it lags.
Chief Phillips.
And that seems to be the biggest issue, that there's like big gaps in the parade, so we just kind of wanted people to sort of
Move it on.
try to keep things hustling along. But I think that's it. I think we're in pretty good shape. We have the program for the ceremony finalized now, so we just have to print it. And I think that's it. Am I
And the
missing
note
anything?
tomorrow, and the staging instructions.
And the staging, yes. Yes.
Do we get confirmation from board members how many people might be showing up from council?
The mayor, president, Stankos, Jana, no.
We will
I
at
think
least have
that's
some, I said for myself, at least somebody else there
Yeah.
from council.
Touche.
And you said you were gonna be in the front of the parade handing out flags.
Yeah, I'll hand out flags again, and I'm seeing if anyone else, I mean, I'll drag my family along with me to do it, they like handing out
Okay.
flags.
Well, we have the
See who else.
borough truck with all the flags in the back of
I
it.
don't think we've handed out flags on Memorial Day.
We did last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, the past 2 years.
I had 4,000 flags upstairs.
We never ran out, but I should say.
Then I'm gonna have to legend my flag stick like Memorial Day or
Just a quick question, where would Boy Scouts be set up in the same place as last year for the hot dog sale? Kind of like sort of, near the.
We haven't really
After
talked about it yet, but I
the
figured it'd be closer to the pavilion.
It should be really,
Because the remembrance ceremonies at the War Memorial, there'll be 2 tents there.
okay.
I don't know if you guys remember, but there's almost 45 World War II vets that are gonna be there. It's supposed to be one of the largest collection of living is the wrong word to say, but assembly of World War II vets in the country this year.
Wow.
They're in the parade, then they're gonna come, but then they have to leave immediately after afterwards, after the ceremony, so.
You're in the same spot as last year.
Okay, thank you.
So I would take it you were gonna be closer, that's where,
Yeah.
the perk up truck's gonna move, that's where the cotton candy lady's gonna go to.
Yeah.
Um,
Carly doing cotton?
What?
Who's doing cotton?
Melissa, the cotton candy cart or something like that. And the plan was we were gonna set up all the games, similar like we did for Earth Day with the frisbee golf, soccer, all that stuff out in the fields that people could play like they did.
I think that's great how you guys are trying to like make it festive, walk that line, making it solemn but also festive.
Yeah.
Well, from what people told me was the morning is the somber part, and then at 12 is officially like, that's when you're supposed to celebrate. That you're not supposed to say Happy Memorial Day, that in the morning you're somber and you remember those who gave up the ultimate sacrifice, and 12 o'clock is the cutoff, which is a good question I need to ask. On Memorial Day, you're supposed to lower the flag to half-staff, and at 12, you're supposed to briskly raise it to the top. So do we do that on our parade day, knowing that it's not Memorial Day?
All of our flags are still at camp staff,
Yeah.
as the captain asked her.
Okay,
So we've been waiting to take the fire department's lead as to when to raise them.
okay.
I think that's all I have for the parade.
Okay. You're up again?
Next, playground, I'm gonna not address the age requirements, I'm gonna let you guys handle that, but I will go through the rest of my list, if that's okay. So we have Aaron and Nikki onboarded now, and they are like at it in full force. So Aaron Hatfield is our new director, and Nikki Craybill is going to be supervising the counselors. And they have our parent handbook ready to go, we just have to make a few edits, and that will be distributed. They finalized all of our weekly themes, so we have a graphic that we'll put out on Facebook so that parents are aware of that. And they can kind of plan accordingly if they wanna make sure that their kids are there for something specific, they'll kind of know what's coming. And we have all of our performers and people booked for Circus Week, which is the first week. So that is pretty much ready to go. We are fully staffed now with our counselors, and Aaron and Nikki have 2 orientation dates set, so that they have some flexibility as far as college ending and getting back and vacation, so that they can pick one of the 2 to attend. So they'll attend those trainings in person, with both Aaron and Nikki present, and I think Randy will be at one, if not both of them, and then I think I'm gonna try to go to one of them as well, at least just to touch base with some of the counselors, so that I can put some names and faces together. We found a free mandated reporter training, I think it's through the University of Pittsburgh. So the counselors have the link to that, and they can log in, they can stop and go and complete it, and then they just have to turn their certificate into Aaron or Nikki before the start of the program. We do need a CPR instructor, so I don't know if anyone knows someone, we were hoping to find somebody who could train, we went to 6, like, head supervisors at a minimum to be CPR trained, and some of them maybe, I don't know that Aaron and Nikki would, but we were hoping to find someone who could train them together, otherwise.
What about the fire department, Kim Ethan, is he CPR certified?
He was supposed to, and
Yeah.
He was gonna
There-
do it for us.
there were some things going on the
Yeah.
past 2 weeks. Officer Karstein in the police department certified.
Okay,
I mean, it's dependent on his shift, but
okay,
that's what we can
I can
do.
maybe put him in touch with, Aaron, and maybe Aaron can coordinate their availability and try to get that done.
Do you want me, I'll add that to my list, talk to you about it
Okay.
tomorrow.
Yeah, we extended registration, so that's gonna be open at least until the end of May. And then, I added this on here even though Randy didn't tell tell me yes or no. So what I wanna do is a playground Instagram takeover, and I want Erin and Nikki to be able to put some posts on there just to let people know, what's gonna be coming as far as the themes and the activities and the, you know, just to give people a taste of what we're gonna be implementing, so that they know what's coming and they can kind of see all the work that we've put in and what their kids are gonna be experiencing when they start. Cause I think, especially now, it's important that they see the positives.
Is that something you
that-
anticipate now to drive registration since we extended it, or something closer to launch date?
I think we should do it sooner than later, yes, to try to maintain the siblings that are still able to participate, and to try to get people to register who maybe were on the fence and now are losing faith because they don't understand what's going on. I think that the
It'll go
more
all
we
the way to
communicate
leading
better.
up to.
Yeah, yeah, so I think the more we, you know, tell them what we've been doing, the better.
Just a quick question for you, Kristen. For kids who are in that in-between age where they're too young to be working, too old to be participants, the kids that are interested in volunteering at
Mhm.
playground, should they be doing any kind of training ahead of time?
They have to be 14, you're right, there is an in-between, the program ends at 12, and those 13-year-olds are kind of left. Historically, that's what it's been, I didn't have time to really evaluate it and change it.
I don't know.
There is training,
Yeah.
we have orientation and training sessions where we haven't necessarily had those in the past. And Nikki's and Erin are working on those, that'll happen during the orientation. But our idea is that the playground leaders in training, the volunteers, will truly be evaluated and held accountable to learn. I mean, that's what they're there for, they're not there just to continue the playground program, they're to learn to become a playground leader, a counselor. And in years past, I think it filled a gap of, oh, my son's too old to be in the program, but he's too young to get paid, so let him just volunteer and he still gets to go play. There's a lot to be said about that, I'm not taking away from it, but if you're really in the program to learn how to become a leader, then we need to teach you how to be a leader. And so we'll have a curriculum for those people,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, I think they're training the counselors more to be able to include the volunteers, like, the counselors are being trained to train the volunteers,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Okay.
And, you know, there will be standards for the volunteers as well, but I think their focus this year is more on the paid staff, and then the curriculum and the training for the volunteers will come later.
Okay, so so kids who are volunteering should not attend one of those training sessions?
I don't know that Erin communicated those dates to them,
Okay.
if they received an email about it,
I think they did.
If they
They
did,
so they
oh,
did,
if they
should-
did, they can go, absolutely, yes, I wasn't
Because
clear
it's
if
more
Erin
than
did that
just
or
the,
not.
I think my take was that
Okay.
it's the orientation is explaining the program,
Right.
expectations, roles and responsibilities, what we're gonna be holding you accountable for, and then get into the volunteers or the people in training. And then they'll get into specific training depending on what you're gonna do.
Silly question, do those 13-year-olds have emails? How do they get notified?
They're following up directly, I mean, I think they all have emails
Yeah.
on their applications,
phone.
but if
You'd be shocked.
if they don't hear back from them, they're making sure, they have to attend
Interesting.
in order to work,
Their
so,
parents,
yeah.
Yeah, they have one from school, I guess, right?
so their parents are reminding them to check their email.
Thank you.
I think that's all that I have, not much.
Do you wanna talk about it now or new directors?
No, I have no directors.
Okay.
I mean, which is next, but we'll do the pool first.
Right, pool overview?
You know, Randy and Michelle know a lot more about the infrastructure, whether, you know, the opening stuff, but I've been in contact with Chris. He's been doing the trainings and he's been setting up, you know, the office and getting ready, communicating with the lifeguards, so, you know, I'm satisfied, you know, with what he's doing. You have anything to add it, Randy?
No, I think Chris has done a great job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's part of the, I've gone to the orientation that he had.
Yeah.
I was impressed with the 2 assistant managers that are in place. I sat through their presentations. The kids were very respectful. I was actually really surprised. Annie is a senior in high school, and I forgot, I think Maya is either in college or has decided not to pursue college, but she's not a high school kid anymore, and both of them were authoritative and commanded respect, so I was impressed with both of them. As you guys saw, the pool, unfortunately, you know, with the weather we've had, April and May, it's made it very difficult to finish the renovation project. They made great progress this week. The water has to sit in it for at least 6 to 7 days. The caulking is dry, and Greg is hoping they can fill the pool. We communicated that the pool would open with 8. We're hoping it could be potentially earlier. It just won't be ready for this weekend.
So the rec guide actually says it's open May 25th, 26th, 27th, and then not opening again
Right.
until June 8th. So when this came up last week, I went through the average pool membership and figured out the pool would be open normally 95 days, and that's assuming it does not rain or storm all summer. It would be open about 95 days. So I took the average of the pool memberships divided by 95, and the average is $3.81 a day. So the finance committee is going to talk, and I fully expect that they're going to end up issuing a refund to the member accounts of $3.81 per day for every day we're delayed opening.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And honestly, from monitoring social media, the pushback on being delayed has been minimal.
Yeah.
Everybody has been, it's too cold to get in the pool anyway.
Yeah.
So I was actually surprised.
People forget it's closed during that.
I know.
Yeah.
I think the big issue is that we still need to pursue the rentals, the, expectations from a work standpoint, the getting along with the Wahoos and the swim team.
What's that mean?
That we all hold hands and we sing together.
What does that mean?
That
Where's
our
that
guy,
coming from?
that I think that our staff at the pool is doing everything possible to help the swim team. And
Oh,
so,
okay, and it's never been a problem in the past. Good, yeah.
So those are things that we talked about at the committee meeting, and so those are still on the list of next steps. There was a rental for the pool pavilion for this Sunday, and unfortunately we had to cancel that rental, because the pool's not open.
Were we able to offer them any other, obviously it's not the pool, but any other rental
They're
facilities?
supposed to get back to us tomorrow. We offered up, I think it was Happy Hollow, was available, and the whole party was supposed to be pool centric, so they said they'd let us know tomorrow. On the director's report, I'm not gonna go through line by line, because you guys all got copies of this. It gives you the breakdown of what the facility rentals were for the month since our last meeting, the year-to-date contributions for the fundraising campaign. We had miscellaneous donations through Wyomissing Rec, which still surprises me that I guess people sign up for something and there's a opt key that you can round up like you do at the grocery store. So I see a lot of dollar donations that show up, so which is great. It gives you a breakdown also of how many registrants we had for each of the programs there. The event, Stargazing, got canceled. As you guys know, we're one of those boroughs that only have outdoor facilities. So that night that Stargazing was supposed to happen, it was pouring down rain, so we didn't get to do it. Same thing happened with the National Ride a Bike Day. It rained the entire day. I'm looking at other possible events that we can still distribute those 4 boxes of helmets that we had, that it makes sense. The fishing rodeo, like you guys said, I thought from everything I got, I guess the nicest compliment was from Peter Miller, where he emailed me and said, this reminded me of what it used to be like as a kid growing up. And for a guy who's been around there for that program for 74 years, that meant a lot to me for him to say that. But they were able to get some great prizes from Cabela's. You guys saw them. And by the way, thank you guys for stepping in. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there, so I really appreciate that. There were over 1,200 fish. At the last minute, Eli Peters said, hey, I found some extra money. I want to get 300 more fish. So there were more fish than there's ever been. I saw somebody fishing on Tuesday when I went to pick up some of the signs, and they were still pulling fish in. So.
Oh, yeah, yeah, it's busy all the time.
And like I said, pre-registration tallied out at 119, and Michelle said that you thought there were 89 people day of. Is that what the number was?
That's what I thought somebody said.
I mean, I'm trying to think, I counted a lot that day, it's definitely close to 100.
Which from
I've never
Great.
seen that many people
Yeah.
down on the
It
wall.
was great,
We
yeah,
had
it was,
some people in the restricted area, but
When I looked at the sign-in sheet from the year before, there were 36
Yeah.
last year.
yeah, it was good.
To give you an idea of what it was versus last year.
I've been out there with like a winter coat, and I've been out there sweating, so it just depends.
The Memorial Day Parade, just to reiterate, if you guys are available, I would highly recommend coming and seeing the World War II vets. I mean, they deserve the recognition that they're gonna get. I think we have a great program for the Remembrance ceremony, and everybody's excited about coming back to it, so. Independence Day, the fireworks are scheduled for July 3rd. I don't have a lot of updates to give you on this. That's the next big project for me to transition to. I wish I had more. We did agree on what the theme was gonna be. So as soon as Memorial Day is over, I'll move to 4th of July. Rick sent me an email on some reminders, thank you very much. Like I said, we have 4,000 flags. 1,000 of them are planned for this weekend, and then the 3,000, which is still more than you had last year, is 4th of July, and hopefully we can reuse a lot of those too. So,
I have a quick question, I think it was Liz asking about, did you ask me about the 4th of July, being the 3rd, and the firecrackers getting into the pool and causing the pool to delay the next day opening, was that you?
Well, we talked about it.
Yeah, did that happen last year? I can't recall, do you remember?
I met with the fireworks company, Ethan and Greg at the pool to go over the fireworks show,
Yeah,
and they said the pool was destroyed. But Greg and the team got it cleaned up and it was ready the
awesome,
next
okay, I
day.
didn't know what had happened.
The other issue that happened is people need to get off the deck. That whole area is within the fallout zone, and people stayed on the pool deck last year, so everybody's gotta go this year, yeah.
I don't think it was communicated at all.
No.
As someone who was there, no one knew they had to leave until it was time to leave, and then they kicked everybody out. So like people had all their things
Yeah,
sitting in the
it was-
grass.
A shocker.
It was a mess. But I think when they had to close
Use that
early
one.
the next day, I think on the 4th they opened to the public. So I think there were like a billion people
Yeah.
in the water, and I think it was more of a chemical issue, and I
Yeah.
don't think it was related to.
Yeah, that was
I
my,
remember that too.
Yeah, usually
Impression.
delayed an opening of one anyway on that day, but,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure it was.
I don't know about that, but I know I think they closed, I feel like they closed an hour early or something like that.
Well, and
because it
then
was
the
like-
pool-
You know, we always open an
closed.
hour later because of the parade and people wanting to spend time at the Stonehouse, so the pool opens at 1 o'clock on that day
Okay.
normally.
well, but no, after because the moonlight swim, that was the busiest moonlight swim
Yeah.
I've ever been to, it was
Yeah.
packed.
I think
and
it was
then
that coupled with all the people.
all
the
those
next
bodies,
day.
plus then on the 4th of July, and then they had to close the pool on the 4th of July, cause I think
Yeah.
like the pool just couldn't
It was-
rebalance chemicals.
We're finalizing the details on the moonlight swim and when the fireworks will actually be set off. Last year they were set off at 9:45, and it was a last second, everybody get out, nobody was there to be, the police didn't block off one of the roads, and people were standing in the street, and it was just very chaotic.
Mhm.
I've met with Chief Phillips, I met with Ethan, the fireworks people, so I think we have a bit of a plan. We just haven't figured out the exact time for firing the fireworks off, if it's gonna be 9:45 or 10 o'clock.
We've never done that before, it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really
it was
cool.
really neat. It just-
Um,
it was- yeah.
And maybe this isn't the time to talk about this, but I know last year, like in talking to Pete back after the event, that he had talked about actually setting the fireworks off from somewhere else so that people didn't have to leave the pool.
There's a very, very, very limited area that can actually be set off under both state law and the
I
fire
don't know
marshal.
anything about it.
Yeah.
He was talking about setting them off, I think, from one of the athletic fields at the school district, which now you're not only transferring liability to property we don't own, it falls outside the parameters of where we can legally set them off. So,
So
I
it's,
love
it's
the-
about
yeah.
the only place we can do it.
That yard,
And all
the
that
A field is
construction.
so nice to watch from.
Well, yeah, and I think this year too, people will be more prepared, cause I think we all thought, like, I thought I was gonna be floating in the
I thought I
pool
could
watching
sit.
fireworks.
Yeah,
And then they're like, leave. I was like, oh, okay, it was, I was like, oh, wait, I have to find my children and hang
Well, I
out.
think that falls on us to communicate
Yeah,
it leading
right,
up to it.
yeah.
Yeah, and it was the
That's
first time I feel
all.
like, I don't think
That's
anybody was
all.
upset
Yeah.
about it.
No,
and
it's
and,
chaos.
yeah.
you will be required to vacate the premises in 2 minutes 45 minutes.
Yeah, well, I think if it's just communicated in advance, then people
Yes.
will be fine.
The summer concert series kicks off on the 9th. An update with that is originally we had pushed everything away from the Stonehouse with the ADA project. It's out for bid again, and based on when they come back and when they start staging for that, they're gonna stay west, or is it east of the tennis courts? So we'll have it at least up to the Lantern Parade. So those first two events, or the second and third event will be at the Stonehouse, and then it gets moved to the Quarry Soccer Fields. Programming with Playground, Kristen went through everything. We're super excited, and it's a shame that the cloud of what's happened in the last couple of days is overshadowing all the work that's been put into this to revamp it. When I first started, I told you guys, I was honest, that the two things that made me the most nervous was pool and playground, and being home for 4th of July. I feel better about the playground till the last 3 days than I have yet, but the work that's been put into the handbook, the flexible curriculum, hiring new people to oversee it that are enthusiastic and believe in the program, training the coordinators, training the playground leaders, holding people accountable. I'm so excited about it, and it's really crappy of what happened. I'm not downgrading that. Unfortunately, it kind of fell into our lap and being alerted of what happened. There's a state statute, as I told you on the phone, there's a state statute that oversees it. We're not a licensed daycare, so we fall into the category that we cannot have people attend our program that haven't gone to kindergarten. The law's been in effect since 2007. If you go and check anybody else's playground programs, they all start at post kindergarten or 6 years old. Sinking Springs got busted last year and had to cease and desist. They had to cease their operations until they were compliant with the law. And since then, they've changed their program, like everybody else. I found articles written in the Conshohocken newspaper, the Philadelphia newspaper. It's a hot topic. My gut tells me that there's lobbyists for the for-profit daycare centers that are keeping House Bill 1745 from moving forward. The Pennsylvania Recreation and Park Society has sent out a 13-page document, and it's got testimony from all these different rec departments of what it's doing to the community. So everything that people told me on the phone has already been said to all these other places. It's the same exact stuff. It's a great gateway. It gets kids ready for a playground. It's a shame to separate them from their brothers and sisters. It's the saddest 87 phone calls I've ever made. But unfortunately, we don't have control over it. It's a law.
I've spoken, when Randy brought this to my attention, I punted it for our solicitor, who's our attorney. He researched it and said absolutely, you're playing with fire if you go forward with allowing Tot Lot to operate the way that it always has in the past. I think we were both in shock because the law is from 2007, so my question was, why are we only finding out about this now? And only because we heard secondhand about Sinking Spring getting a cease and desist notice. There's nothing the borough can do to set up any type of program that is caring for a child that has not been through kindergarten. What I have done is we have our own lobbyist. I reached out to her. She is in the process of setting up meetings with both Senator Schwank and Representatives Tata Freitas to talk about the impact this has had on our community, as well as doing further lobbying in Harrisburg to get that House bill moving and hopefully get that law off the books.
I think like I understand like we can't have Tot Lot as it has been in the past, right? Like this would be considered childcare. But what about like other like preschool recreational opportunities that would not look so?
We cannot be affiliated with anything that is involving care of children that have not gone through kindergarten.
You can if the parent is present.
Well,
So if you offer opportunities where the parent can accompany the child and you can have a group of parents and preschool kids meeting together.
A lot of
that
parents
would
ask
be-
me on the phone, hey, Tot Lot, or playground ends at 12, can we have unofficial mommy and me, for lack of a better term, mommy and me days that we can have play in the playground with 6 moms and their 6 kids? As long as it has nothing to do with us, that we can't sponsor it and say it's Wyomissing's mommy and me program, people can go to the playground as much as they
You're
want.
saying before, like during the hours of 9 to 12.
We closed the playground and we actually put signs up during playground
Yeah.
hours that say for playground participants only. And we have to be very careful with that. I mean, my answer would be no, because every single person in that playground program, that's one of our employees, part-time or full-time, has gone through multiple state background clearances, FBI child abuse clearances. Like, we've had this conversation in the past with families that reached out like, hey, I just wanna go up, and my kid used the swing while playground's going on, and we've had to do our due diligence to ensure that is as safe as an environment as possible for the kids participating in our program. So that's why we've always shut down those facilities to anyone else while our program is operating, because we can't maintain that safe space if we don't know who's in it outside of our employees.
Numerous people asked me, you probably noticed in the email that I sent out today, that it had, instead of blind copying, all 47 affected families, people asked me, hey, can you put all the names and add email addresses so that we can see them, that you can see your email address and vice versa, so you can reach out and talk. And that's why I did it that way, so you could see who else was affected and who was in there.
I mean, I would say outside of the playground hours, of course, you're welcome to use the facilities.
Obviously, it's a public park.
Yeah.
That was never a
Families use
question.
it a lot for like
Outside of
socialization.
playground hours, it's during those playground hours that.
Especially because like we both have older children that will partake in, actually my son's like, well, if Juliana, I can't do it, I don't wanna do it.
Yeah.
And he's,
I got
cause
two
he'll
that
be
said
in,
the same.
he's like, it's not fair, she can't do it, I don't wanna do it. But, if he does end up going to the program, as a mom, like having them there to participate at the same time, obviously the younger one can't do it, but to have my younger daughter be there from 12 to whatever, that
Does it benefit?
yeah, like to have them out at the same time is what we want. But
What am I gonna do with my older, like I'm in home? I mean, it's a public facility, so like it seems like if we're there supervising our own children, just like she said, is not against,
It doesn't count as child.
it doesn't count as
But
childcare.
Again, it goes against our policies because
Right.
of the FBI
Because of
child abuse
clearances.
clearances.
Right, and I get that, but
Yeah.
that's why we're still saying that we'd like to look for some other
Close
solutions.
every play, like the Hills and Happy Hollow, if you would show up there between 9
Oh,
and
no,
12.
I'm sorry, maybe I misunderstood, maybe I wasn't clear. I was thinking like meeting somewhere else, like not at those places, because it's only for playgrounds, so like, I'm not familiar with all these places, but like the Mausoleum Field, the Berkshire Heights Playground, the Quarry Field, you could meet at different locations, that would not be Wyomissing Hills Playground and Happy Hollow Playground. Another option is if you meet in small groups. My understanding was like childcare is only if it's like 7 kids or more. So if you have groups of 5 or 6 kids, then that doesn't actually count as childcare. So,
That's not the borough solicitor's interpretation of it.
gotcha.
There's liability, so you can't
Yeah.
just have our staff watching a random group of 6 kids. No.
I still
We're
think
not saying that there's
Right,
no
not
answer.
your,
But-
not your staff, but if we are watching our own children.
Yeah, like if
Just
you go to
can't do it
Berkshire
at our
Heights,
playground.
to that playground,
And the 2 facilities where we run the playground program is where you would not be able to do it. I don't have a workaround for you for that, I'm sorry, because of the background clearances we are required to have to operate the overall program.
would it be an issue if you were at like the Hill, like Wyomissing Elementary School playground?
That's not our property, that's the elementary school.
That's really
I mean, that's not part of our program.
You could be like, see your kids whenever.
Yeah.
Can I just ask a question before you leave the subject? Because I got asked a lot of questions about this week, and I was like, what? How did this all transpire, like, at the last minute? And maybe that is we should already know that, but I don't feel like I read that in any of the reports or anything. Like, what happened to have this happen right now?
Jessica brought it up to me on May 12th, I think was the date, something like that. And
I
brought
regret
up.
it because my son's 4, but
And-
the issue is like, they, I didn't feel comfortable with the ratio. At the last board meeting, I thought that the ratio for tot lot should be different than the ratio for playground. I didn't think there should be a 10-to-1 ratio with 3-year-olds and a 10-to-1 ratio with 12-year-olds.
So now
So I-
87 kids can't go to.
So I looked at the local playgrounds, and I noticed that all the playgrounds around us have ages of 6, 7, or completion of kindergarten. And then I saw the Sinking Spring update, and as soon as I saw the Sinking Spring update, it was posted on their website, and then I told Randy.
When Jessica gave it to me is when I called Sinking Springs and I started deep diving.
So it was
find
unfortunate.
out.
It's unfortunate. It wasn't like I was looking at the ratio, so I didn't feel comfortable with that. And then I don't understand how it's been since 2007. This has been in the books, and this is not like, it's kind of incredulous that this has not come up prior. Like, did the state not reach out to?
No.
I don't understand how from a systemic point.
I
It took,
can't tell you historically what's happened since 2007. Like I told you, my personal opinion from everything I've read, and I've been up countless days of reading about this, and I think it's the for-profit daycares that are losing money, and they have lobbyists that are fighting House Bill 1745. And their lobbyists have been louder than our lobbyists. And the loudest lobbyist wins. And so that House Bill 1745 has been sitting since April 2023. It got looked at in
1746.
1746. Is it?
I wrote 45.
It's
And that's to overturn the statute that says.
not overturn it. I think it's
Repeal
a
it.
variance to repeal it and
Okay.
allow municipalities' playground programs to operate like they've done in the past. The Pennsylvania, I printed out, gave Rick a copy of it. It's the Pennsylvania Recreation and Park Society's 17-page recommendation that's attached to House Bill 1746. And everything that, all the qualifications we meet, we exceed all the qualifications. But it hasn't been signed and approved, so it doesn't supersede the law yet. The law is still the law. And it's slowly getting caught. So I don't know what happened in Sinking Springs, why a red flag went up and an investigator or inspector showed up in Sinking Springs. They did, they saw they were in violation, they cited them, they issued a cease and desist, shut down their program. It took them 4 days to get it reopened, and they didn't allow pre-K to go anymore.
I'm frankly shocked that, Rob Lewis, who was 3 rec directors ago, he was actually on the board for the PRBS. So that he didn't know about it, Pete Beck's a teacher, that he didn't know about it.
It's so vague. It doesn't specify.
And I
It's
think
like-
that's, it's probably like a lot of state laws that are passed. Either people don't understand them because there's gray area language, or there's no public education as to this is going into effect and here's what it means for you. And then the state, for whatever reason, starts random enforcement actions and people start finding out about it. So, again, clearly not ideal 2 weeks before the playground opens that we had to make the decision, but we would be in violation of state law. We can't do that. That's also putting grant funding and a whole host of other things that we get from the state in jeopardy.
For sure, we understand that. Is Judy walking in the parade?
She'll be there on Saturday.
No good. Make a sign.
Already got it.
And like I said, I fired a lot of people in my career. Making those phone calls was worse than that, so.
I respect that, I'm sure those were easy phone calls. I respect your position as, we're just trying to find some workarounds.
Yeah. Kind of moving forward, the pool we've already talked about. Lastly is the tennis, swimnastics, and swim lessons, and I have the participants in those as well. Any questions about the director's report?
Okay, moving on to old business.
At the last meeting we had, it was approved to recommend to the Borough Council to put the basketball hoops back up. It was voted upon at last week's council meeting and unanimously approved. The guys, Public Works has to buy some new nets, and the goals will get put up as soon as those nets come in. Working with Coach Anders at the high school, he's preparing a schedule to host a girls' league at Happy Hollow on Tuesdays and Thursdays, which coincides great with, you know, the success of girls' basketball, not only at school, but the popularity it's getting nationally. It gives girls something, a role model to look up to watch good high school basketball. So that'll be coming out soon.
Is that 2 different games at 6 and 7? 2
Yeah.
sets?
I think there's 8 schools total that are participating. He's waiting to finalize the
So
schedule.
2 games each evening.
He'll supply the referees, the scorekeepers, they bring over the team benches. Really, we don't have a lot to do with this, they pretty much run it themselves. New business, I didn't have anything.
Okay, is there any new business?
Can't talk about it, it's not on the agenda.
In that case, motion to
It's
adjourn.
also a state law.
Second?